Kieran Box of Bants, and really happy now to be met with Tommy Mac, big Tommy Mc Carthy. Tommy, you're only in the door of your hotel. Have you had your? I heard everyone passed their COVID test, so I presume you're.
Yeah, well, I don't mind on Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, Wednesday I done one because you had to do a COVID test before the COVID test, so I passed it on Wednesday, and then I was to do another one in the morning, and then that'll put me in the bubble. So right now I'm not in the bubble yet. I'm just in the hotel room. I'm booked in for the first test in the morning. Once I get that, then that's me through.
Yeah, and then you're back to confinement in your room again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you feeling anyway? I can't imagine you've ever had an issue cutting weight anyway. So how are you feeling?
I'm pretty good. Like the weight's good. I've been working with Stephen Floyd as the nutritionist, the first camp, and I've done it completely different than I've ever done in my life before, and it's got great results. Like the weight's just flew down, and like eating plenty, but still losing weight and loads of energy in it. So weight hasn't been an issue. And
that's Stephen who Tyrone was working. The both Tyrones are working.
Yeah.
And in terms of like your schedule for the week, do you have a lot of media obligations or anything like that?
Yeah. So tomorrow it's going to be like Zoom media stuff, and then Wednesday is the big media day, and then Thursday's the press conference, Friday weighing, Saturday fighting. So it's a full week. Well, not a full week. From Tuesday to Saturday, it's all go.
Mm-hmm. I was laughing. I was laughing during the week because you know the way you had the matchroom cameras for their YouTube channel kind of following you for the last while, and when you were holding your daughter and I think you were asking her for it because she said no. I was thinking to myself, I said, she's getting Tommy back for all those times he's done a scare cam on her.
Like I see that particular moment. I was saying to him, look, she never gives me kisses. Look, so I was just like trying to prove me right.
And then I was just laughing because, like, I've been getting a good laugh of your and Thrones, the stories over the last while, and especially obviously you doing scare cams on your poor child. My missus was like, the poor child.
I know, man, it cracks up. Leave her alone. Everybody loves it. So I say that people want it, so we have to deliver.
So anyway, the fight itself. So you're fighting Bellew Lagoon, and you were kind of now you can tell me if I'm wrong now, but you were kind of rewarded for showing your balls because even though it took a long time for this title shot to come, from what I understand, Lawrence Okoli kind of said, right, who wants to defend the belt against me? And no one kind of put up the hand, and then you said, I'll fight him. And then Matchroom decided to go defend it against you, and you kind of just came in for a vacant title shot for basically putting up your hand.
Well, that is somewhat right. What happened after I won in Italy last year, so that put me up the rankings. So Corley was the champion, and then they needed a new mandatory for it. So they offered, like, it was what you said, like, who wants it, and I think like the first 6 ahead of me, none of them fancied it. And we were like, fucking right, I fancy it. So that put me in the mandatory positioning. But like at that time, nobody knew what Coley was doing. Like it wasn't like it was just like for the mandatory position. So nobody else wanted the mandatory position. What happened to it? So once I got that spot, then obviously fucking COVID came around. So with COVID coming around, that just slowed everything down and just threw a spanner in the works for everyone's plans.
Mhm.
So once Cody vacated, then the EBU went down the list. Because remember Eddie Hearn saying he would love to do me versus Bellew Smith. So I
Yeah.
actually thought that was going to happen. So I started training for the fight Bellew Smith, and then the EBU, they obviously it's up to him, and they went down the rankings and they picked Bellew.
Wow. Yeah, because that was basically just what I heard from. I think it was actually Andy Clark and Sky was talking about it. So yeah, like you were already kind of in a position where you wanted to have some form of a opportunity either for the European title or whatever it was. But obviously, that's how you just said it there. That's how it transpired. This particular fight now, how long have you? I imagine you've known about this for quite a bit because I've seen on your page you were training for the European title fight, but
Well, do you know what? People. So I often make fun of people as well for talking about the law of attraction and all that there, but really, me and like this is a law of attraction moment because in my mind, I says, look, I want to fight on I didn't even know the date for Usyk Chisora, but I just saw Chisora doing an interview and he was saying, as far as I know, we're going to be fighting at the end of October. So I said to myself, look, I want to fight the date I had in my mind, the 29th of October. That would be perfect for me. That gives me 8 weeks from now, or it might have been 9 weeks when I was having these thoughts. And I was saying this to Tyrone Mc Kenna, I was like, 29th of October is perfect. So I'm going to start training now for the 29th of October because I want to be on this Usyk Chisora card. And I went and I spoke with Stephen Floyd and I says, look, this isn't confirmed, but I'm just training for a state. So I want to get you on board now to get my weight down. It's 8 weeks away, blah, blah, blah. And he says, right, no problem. So I was training away for about 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And then next thing, Mark phoned me. He says, Tommy, right, we've done a deal. You're fighting Bellew Lagoon. Everything's sorted. And I says, right, when? He says, Usyk Chisora on their card. And I said, fuck, that's unbelievable. Like, I just thought this into existence, and it's happening. So I knew officially about the fight for 6 weeks, but I made it up in my mind 9 weeks.
Yeah, you were already in training. That that's not the first time I've heard that. Like, one person who's the biggest advocate of it, I'd say, in boxing for law of attraction, like you're saying, it would be Jamie Moore, and he spoke about it. He actually said to me one time he was talking about, I think it was one of his British title fights. It was his first shot, and he said he started training for it. And he says, on this date when that fight's on, I'm going to start training for it. But two people were already fighting for the belt, but he said to his manager, he said, Steve Goodwin, he says, I think so-and-so's going to pull out. He says, I just have a feeling he's going to pull out. He says, I'm going to be training for that day. And Steve Goodwin was like, you're mad. Do you know what I mean? Like, how could you possibly think he's going to pull out? He says, I think he's going to pull out. And he just kept picturing in his mind that he was going to be fighting that day. And the next thing, he got a phone call. And Steve Goodwin was like, you're never going to fucking believe this. He was like, yeah, pull that. You know?
It's mad. Like, me and Tyrone Mc Kenna we had this conversation about the 29th of October. So it was a couple of days out, but the same week anyway. I was like, Tyrone, that's absolutely mad. Like, we actually just spoke this into existence. So it says right now, we're going to stop him in the first round. Hopefully that happens.
Look, you'd be surprised. So for someone like you, for a little spell in your career, you were someone who was on the road kind of sparring, and you were getting really good experience against really high level opposition such as Tony Bellew and whatnot. But for this camp, obviously with COVID and whatnot, you being you're essentially the home fighter in this fight. What has sparring been like for you? I know you have a lot of fighters in the gym, but I can't imagine you were going to be able to fly people out and whatnot.
Well, we looked at that, but then once we looked at Bellew, we had enough homegrown fighters to, get me prepared for his style. So, big Stephen Ward has helped me out big time sparring, and Stevie Collins Jr. So the much rounds that me and him's done has just been so much because Stevie Collins Jr.'s around the same height as Bellew, and then Paul McCullough came to the gym and we sparred for we had about a week sparring with Paul, and so it was all good. And then Carl, who's just recently turned pro, he was also senior champion. He's making his debut in Poland.
Oh yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Then he came in then and was helping out with sparring too. So they were all roughly around the same height and like the same ability. Now Stevie Collins doesn't have the same style as Bellew, but Stevie Collins just dragged me into the trenches every sparring session. And that's just, I know in my head, like, if we do have to go where I can do it because, like, Stevie's back up to his natural weight. He's strong as an ox. He's fit as a fiddle, and he's just putting so much pressure on me. And then big Stephen Ward.
Yeah. He's probably, Steve as well, Colin's probably enjoying this sparring now as well because he's not having to compete.
Yeah, he's loving it because there's no pressure and he's not killing himself to make weight. And big Stephen Ward has been just fantastic as well because Stephen is like a great technical boxer. Everyone knows it. Like his technique's second to none, and he's fit and he's tall and he's strong. So it's been brilliant.
Yeah, and it's funny you're talking about the trenches there. I was only listening to Ben Davison today. And he said he calls it the shovel. He says a fighter either has a shovel or he doesn't. He says because if it comes down to a situation, if they have the shovel, they can just keep digging and digging and digging and digging. And that's obviously good for you, I suppose, that you have that in the locker. The actual belt itself, like, it's crazy. I was only looking through the stats of it there. So have you? And I can't imagine you haven't bumped into Johnny Nelson this week, but I imagine you will be bumping into him.
Yeah, not this week, no. So, I've only just got here today, so I haven't bumped into him.
But I was just looking. This is just insane. Like, so you were born, right? You were born on the 4th of November, 1990. So this is obviously it's only next week your birthday. But Johnny Nelson won his first European title on the 14th of December 1990. So like a month after you were born, he won it the first time.
30 years ago.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Oh.
And then he defended the next year and then he went back and won again. And since that time, the world champions that went on to win it was Carl Thompson, David Hay, and Tony Bellew. But the belt is like Bilal Lagoon. He fought for the belt before, against Dmitry Kuchar. Did you watch that fight at all, or have you watched many?
Yeah, watched it. Yeah.
The scoring was all over the place for it.
I actually thought Dmitry won the fight.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, but
I thought Bilal was lucky to get a draw.
The scorecards, one had a draw, one had a 150 and 113 for Bilal, another had a 118, 112 for Dmitry Kuchar.
Yeah.
Crazy. But have you taken much from watching a lot of them, or has it been more so Peter that's kind of been looking?
Well, like Pete says to me, Tommy, don't watch him, I'll watch him. Just leave it up to me. But I just been watching them loads. I just kind of have it. So I don't even know what I'm getting out of watching it. I'm just picking up his wee habits and just like I'm not going into the unknown. I always watch everyone anyway. Even before, like years ago, I watched them because I keep an eye on everything that's happening in cruiserweights. And I always look and see, before I won the WBC International, I always look to see who had belts, and then see like who would like to fight for their belts. And Bellew had an IBF. So about 3 years ago, I was looking at him, and so like it's not an unfamiliar face.
Yeah. In terms of the situation now with no crowds, do you think, like Tyrone said, that it would probably improve him because he's not going to be playing up to a crowd and he'll be able to stick to what he's been instructed? What's the case for you? Because you're kind of the same situation, as in you've come out of an amateur background with the Irish team, traveling all over the place.
Yeah.
Would that be kind of the same mindset for you?
I don't know. Like, I think it'll probably be easier for me to concentrate on what I'm doing in the ring, because a lot of times when I'm fighting, I can hear what people are shouting outside the ring. Like I can remember and like can pick out people's voices, what they're saying. So without that happening, it'll only be Pete's voice that I can hear, and I'll be able just to be like fully concentrated.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll miss the buzz definitely. You know, like you land a big shot and everyone go mad. So it'll be weird. It'll be good. It won't be as a weird experience as much as what people think, because, like you say, as an amateur, nobody goes to watch amateur shows. Nobody goes to watch amateur tournaments. And at the start of your career, when you're a pro, you're on early, and there's nobody out. So it's not like an unfamiliar thing, but this will definitely be different, obviously, because it's a different setup, and it's matchroom and it's pay-per-view and all, so all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to it.
Is it giving you more confidence in the fact that because of the win that you had in Italy, and obviously training with P, and in this situation you're kind of I suppose you could say you're the A side, that he's coming in as the opponent, you're going to be walking out second, and do you feel like you've much more confidence in yourself now if you were to compare that to when you walked out of the ring against Richard Riakporhe? Like,
yeah, well, all that stuff being there, I say no, it doesn't matter to me, but I get my confidence from having Pete in my corner. Like, I know I'm in safe hands with Pete, and I know that the work that we've done. So, like, that's where I'm getting my confidence from. Like, going out for the Riakporhe fight, I knew I was better than him, like, ability-wise, and I had more experience, but I was second guessing. Have I done enough training? Am I ready for this? Is this too soon? Like, I wasn't 100% certain that I'd ticked all the boxes. But this time and the last time, like, none of them doubts were in my mind.
mm-hmm. Yeah, especially I suppose when you're fighting someone like Richard Riakporhe, who obviously has good backing with Dylan White, but he comes from a white collar background. It would be, no one would blame you for having the mindset with your amateur background to go in thinking you're going to win.
Yeah,
you know.
Because that fight came with such late notice. Like, I was training to fight in Ulster Hall, fight at Journeyman, and like then I fought 2 weeks after it. Fought the week of that fight, I got the offer to take it, and I was like, 100%, like, for a belt, because he just beat Sam Haid, and he was very lucky because Sam got an injury. So I was like, fucking right, like, no problem. But that there's just like a wee bit of arrogance. So there's a thing where I've noticed with people who come off heavy performance, and I fell victim to that, is thinking people are shit pros because they didn't have good amateur careers. But it's two different games, so I had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Are you excited about the week in terms that it's a pay-per-view? You've got Usyk versus Chisora, so you'd be around that kind of buzz. A lot of people are saying that it's the best pay-per-view of the year in terms of boxing. And obviously, they're two characters in their own right, and you're kind of part of that kind of whole build-up and stuff. And and obviously another Irish person, Mc Carthy, is sparring with Derek as well. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm buzzing for it because really this is what you get in the boxing for. Well, this is what I got in the boxing for as a kid. To eventually be part of the big shows, and this is the big thing. As he says, this is the biggest pay-per-view show of the year. It doesn't get any bigger than this. So to be a factor and be fighting for a major title, like this is what dreams are made of. So I'm buzzing. I'm looking forward to getting involved in all the shenanigans this week, and just I've worked hard to get here, so I'm just I'm loving it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if Bellew has any English in him at all? Like in terms of, can he speak any English or anything like that? Will there be much dialogue?
Yeah, I would say so because he's from Belgium, and I think most people in Belgium can speak English. Like most people in Europe and the continent, most of them speak English because they learn it in school. Mm-hmm. And I'd say.
Yeah.
Actually, he can't speak English because I saw an interview with him talking, and he can speak English.
Yeah. Well, so then there'll be some dialect for them back. What do you like after this? I imagine you're going to take a little bit of time off, but in your mind, look, you never want to look too far ahead, etc., etc. But as Mark you always have kind of penciled in your next steps. Has Mark kind of spoke to you about what could happen if you win? Because if Lawrence Cody was WBO, Eddie Hearn has kind of said that he would rather him win a world title and just move up straight away. So has there been any discussion in that regard?
I haven't been any serious discussion. It was just, as you say, just like penciling in and throwing ideas about. I have just said, Mark, I win this, I want to fight for a world title next because James Tennyson done it, Card Frampton done it, Tony Bellew done it,
Johnny Nelson did it.
Johnny Nelson, Paul McCluskey. Like if you just keep going back over the list of people who won the EBU, the next fight, 9 times out of 10, is for the world title. So, and either any one of the major belts, when you win the EBU, it puts you in with all of the governing body. So, that's what I just says to Mark. That's what I want, and he's all for it. So, we haven't really talked too much. To be honest, we just know that this is unlocking the door.
Yeah, the bell took kind of a route where Bellew fought for it in that fight, and then it was still vacant. So Bellew and Mastermack fought for it, who you sparred, and then Kuchar, the guy who drew Bellew, beat Enzo McInerney
for it,
yeah, and then Ngabu won it and defended 3 times, and then Coley. But Bellew there winning it and him going on to world title straight after, essentially. You sparred with him. What was it like? Has he given you any words of advice? Because he has spoken highly of you over the last few months over lockdown, saying that he really, really rates you from sparring and whatnot.
Yeah, me and him got on well. It was before I went there. I'd never met Tony Bellew before, and I remember he boxed in the Andy Tornado Centre when I was a kid in this wee multi-nations thing, and I remember he had a good lot of people over, and they're all wearing these t-shirts that said Jimmy Albo, so I thought that was his name, Jimmy Albo, and but I think I was his trainer or something who passed away, but he was knocking everyone out. Then from seeing that, then I remember they used to have boxing on the BBC, they used to have the ABAs on, and and knock people out in the ABAs, and then you knock somebody out in the Four Nations. So it was always just kept watching him. And then when I just turned pro, I sparred Nathan Cleverly. That was my first sparring thing as a pro, and he was getting ready to fight Tony Bellew. So I was but he was giving Cleverly hell in all the build up. He's going, this Bellew's fucking nuts. He was just kept on just berating him. And then when I went and sparred Cleverly's such a nice guy. He was so quiet, timid, worked hard, and they didn't have any badness to say about Tony at all. But on TV, Tony's going, he's a fucking nice, he's a nice guy. It's fucking a head case. So when I went to spar, I was like, Jesus, is he gonna just be a maniac? And he was he's the nicest man I've met in boxing. He was just so nice and stayed in contact, and it was a great experience for me because at the time when I was sparring him, he was the best cruiserweight in the world. And he was going up to fight David Hay, who was another one of my childhood boxing heroes. So it's just an experience that stood by me, and I held my own with him, and it let me know that I'm good enough to hit the levels that he hit.
Mm. That was for the Bellew Cleverly second fight, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, at cruiserweight.
At cruiserweight, yeah.
One of my favourite ever boxing rants is after they fight on the same show, and Bellew's just finished and he's sitting on ringside and they just have a forward and back, and it's just hilarious. I think I just think it's so funny.
With Cleverly.
Yeah, and he actually really.
If you can remember back, Cleverly didn't it's not his nature. I don't know him personally, but from my experience of him and from what I've seen on TV, he's not that kind of person.
Yeah,
that do a lot of talking and moving. Tony was just dogging him every time. And it was just actually felt bad for him. And then when I met him, I was like, why is Tony Bellew being like this? Cleverly, I know they're fighting each other, but he doesn't need to be, because Nathan Cleverly is the quietest person I ever met. Yeah,
well, that's what Tony Bellew was saying ringside. That's what I found so funny. He was like, he says, you had fun times in the scales and I didn't. He says, tables have turned now. He says, are you still struggling to sell tickets in Wales? Because I'm not struggling here, mate. And it was getting really under Nathan Cleverly's skin. Yeah. And then he said, why did you turn in the immediate rematch? And Nathan Cleverly says, we'll just do it now. And then Tony said, off his belt. But he always said that a lot of the talking sometimes was just to give him an edge. And he said the only person that never ever bit was Usyk. He said Usyk actually took it away from him because he was doing interviews and he was popping his head over the wall looking over. But anyway, sorry. So I'll just wrap this up now for a second. But so your fight it's on Saturday night, so it's on Halloween, obviously. Yeah. Do you have any prediction at all? I know you're not going to really probably give us, apart from first round knockout that you were saying that you're visualizing. So
that's it. First round knockout. Had some left hook, right hand, boom. The hand goes Bellew. Mc Carthy does it again.
I was just say, so I know with this cold COVID thing, when you're done, I can't imagine you've a holiday big or anything like that. So you're just going to take some time off, are you?
Well, I'm trying to get. Well, I've sent away for my kids' passports because I want to go on a family holiday, even if it's just for a long weekend to get some winter sun, and then as you said, it'll be my birthday next week, so who knows? Somebody might have some surprise for me. I've said it. I know there's nothing we can do because Aaron's in lockdown, so we don't know what's around the corner.
Do you think Tyrone Mc Kenna is going to try get himself squeezed into the holiday? Try get himself a few free lunches.
Tyrone, he actually is going away with his missus too. So maybe I'll squeeze into his holiday.
On, yeah.
See, Tyrone, right? Tyrone Mc Kenna, for whatever reason, start spreading this rumor, then take money, and it just caught like wildfire. So now it started off as a joke, but now it's just grew legs or something. But I just go along with it because you can't see if you go nah, then people just like give you more grief. So he has inadvertently like done me a favor because see now people go, he's typed. They don't even ask me to bet him anything because they don't expect me to bet anything. So thanks, Tyrone. You're getting a free ride. Now look, see there, it's great for me because now if I say you ban of anything, we'll go for nothing. So you ban, everybody starts laughing, and then somebody does ban. So well done, Tyrone. The Tyrone never bans anything. That's a fact. He points a finger at me. He's not. But I think it's to take the light away from him because he won't put his hand in his pocket. Crocodile pockets we call.
But yeah, no, look, Tommy, really appreciate your time. I'm sure the people of Ireland will be paying their pay-per-view and watching you live. No illegal.
Tune in, send the positive vibes.
Yeah.
My Irish brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and looking forward to it. And you can bring back the blue and gold belt, and hopefully then go from strength to strength after that. So, yeah, thanks very much, Tommy. Okay,
Thanks.
And see you Saturday night. All right, thanks.
Yep, see you after. Bye.
Thanks.